Welcome to all. Today we will look into the projection of points and different types of dimensioning methods. Here, here in this class, we can discuss how to draw the orthographic projections of a point lying in different quadrants, and also we can look into the different types of dimensioning procedures. Here in the first part, we will look into the different types of dimensioning methods, and this is the first type of dimension method. In this particular figure, we can see an object. We can see an object having a horizontal edge, vertical edge, and then an inclined edge, and we will look into the how to represent or how to dimensioning these different types of edges. First of all, first point is that dimensional value should be placed parallel to the dimension line. Here in all these dimensioning, we can see that the letters dimensional values are always parallel to the dimension line, always parallel to the dimension line. If that dimension line is parallel to horizontal direction, then that letters are also horizontal. If that dimension line is parallel to the vertical edge, then dimension line also parallel to the that particular dimension line. Here also we can see that the dimensional values are always placed parallel to the dimension line. And second point, dimensional value should be placed near the middle of the dimension line. Then these dimension values must be at the middle of the dimension line. Here we can use we can use 2H, pencil 2H or thin lines to represent the dimension line. This line is dimension line, and for this projection line, we can use 2H pencils or thin lines to represent both projection lines and dimension lines. Here we can say that this projection lines are always perpendicular to the specified edge. If that edge is this one, then this projection line must be perpendicular to this particular edge. If we can represent this this vertical edge, then again these projection lines are perpendicular to that vertical edge. Similarly, we can say that projection lines are always perpendicular to the specified edge. And third point, dimensional values should be placed above the dimension line. For representing the horizontal edges, then we can say that these dimensional values are always above the dimension line, above the dimension line. If we represent this dimensional value like this, we can see that that values are always above the dimension line. If we represent this horizontal edge, here again we can see that this is a dimension line, and that lettering must be above that dimension line and also at the middle of the dimension line. And but to represent the vertical edge, dimensioning the vertical edge, that dimension line also in vertical, but that lettering or dimensional values are always at the left hand side, LHS of the dimension line, left hand side of the dimension line. These letters are always at the left hand side of the dimension line in the case of vertical dimensioning. And the dimensional value should not touch dimension line. Dimension values never touch the dimension line. There must be some clearance between these letters and this dimension line. Next, dimensional value placed should be readable either from bottom or from the right hand side of the drawing. these these letters are readable either from the bottom or from this right hand side of the drawing. And for representing this inclined edges, here again that dimension line is parallel to that particular edge, and dimension values should be placed in such a way that that this dimension line must be supportive to this letters, supportive to that letters. That means in between here that letters must be in between dimension line and that specified edge. But if we represent this type of inclined edges, then we can say that that letters must be like this. Then only that dimension line is supportive to that letters. And in the case of this angular dimensioning, here again there are two types of dimensioning methods. For method 1, two types are there. Dimensional value on oblique dimension line should be oriented as shown in figure. That is already we have discussed. Then angular dimensional values may be oriented as shown in figure. These two types of dimensioning methods are there in method 1. And in the second method, all the dimension lines are broken at the middle and dimension values are always horizontal direction, always in horizontal direction. That dimensional values are printed always in horizontal or in horizontally. But except in the case of horizontal dimensioning. This horizontal dimensioning in this particular method 2, horizontal dimensioning is exactly same as the case of method 1. Here the dimensional line never broken at the middle, but that lettering is above the dimension line. That is the case. Here again in the angular dimensioning, the values may be oriented as shown in figure. Here again that dimension lines are broken at the middle and that lettering always horizontal, always oriented in horizontal direction. Next we have to look into the projection of points. Here there are three different conditions or three different important points are there. First one, object. What about that object? Object is a point or line or anything like that. We must give a description for the this particular object. Then observer, always observing perpendicular to respective reference plane. That visual rays must be always perpendicular to reference plane. Then location of the object. It means its position with reference to HP and VP. If we say that object is above horizontal plane, point is above horizontal plane, above HP, then we can say that object can lie either in first quadrant or second quadrant, if that object is or that point is above HP. And if we say that particular object or that point is below HP, then we can say that point can either lie in third quadrant or fourth quadrant. And correspondingly, if we say that point is in front of VP, this is vertical plane, then in front of VP, then that point can lie either in first quadrant or fourth quadrant. If that point is behind VP, then we can say that that point can either lie in second quadrant or third quadrant. Then above HP in front of VP means first quadrant. Above HP and in front of VP means that point must be in first quadrant. Then above HP behind VP, above HP and behind VP second quadrant, below HP and behind VP third quadrant, below HP and in front of VP fourth quadrant, below HP and in front of VP fourth quadrant. Then again we can look into the notations. The following notation should be followed while naming different views in orthographic projection. In top view, we can say that point A can represent by a notation small letter a. The line AB, the line capital AB, we can represent as small letter AB in top view. And similarly, in front view, we can represent point A as A dash, and line AB as A dash, B dash. Then similarly, in side view, we can represent point A as A double dash, and the side view of the line we can represent as A double dash, B double dash, A double dash, B double dash. Okay, same system of notation should be followed in case of numbers like 1, 2, 3, etc. Then this is the different quadrants. Here this is first quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third quadrant, and this one fourth quadrant. Then this is the coordinate system view. Coordinate system view means here observer is at this particular side. Then observer can view that XY line as a point, and observer can see that horizontal plane as a straight line, then vertical plane as again a straight line. Then this is the coordinate system view of the first quadrant, and this is the coordinate system view of the second quadrant, and this is the coordinate system view of the third quadrant, and this is the coordinate system view of the fourth quadrant. And we can represent the first quadrant as XY line, above XY line VP, below XY line HP. Here in this particular view, this coordinate system view, if you rotate this horizontal plane 90-degree clockwise direction, and this particular point is XY line, then we can represent that first quadrant in orthographic projection like this: XY line, below XY line, this point is XY line, then XY line, below XY line HP, and above XY line VP. And we can represent this second quadrant as XY line, this point is XY line, and this is HP. If we rotate that HP 90-degree clockwise direction, and this plane is VP, if you rotate this HP in 90-degree clockwise direction, then we can say that HP and VP both are above XY line. HP and VP both are above XY line. HP and VP both are above XY line. And in third quadrant, here this particular point lying in third quadrant, and then this plane is HP and this plane is VP, and we must rotate this HP in 90-degree clockwise direction. Then HP must be above this XY line. HP must be above XY line, VP must be below XY line. Then the representation of third quadrant is like this: HP above XY line, VP below XY line. And finally in fourth quadrant, here we can say that if this point A is lying in fourth quadrant and we can rotate this HP in 90-degree clockwise direction, then this particular point is XY. Then we can represent this fourth quadrant as XY line. Both HP and VP are below XY line. Both HP and VP are below XY line. Then if this particular point is lying in first quadrant, how we can represent the orthographic projection of point A? That is our fundamental A. Here we can say that this particular point A is 20 mm above HP and 30 mm in front of VP. 20 mm above HP and 30 mm in front of VP. Then how we can represent the orthographic projection of this particular point A? Here we can say that in front view we can represent the distance from HP, or in VP, in front view means in VP we can represent 20 mm, and in top view, this is front view and this is top view. In top view we can represent distance from H. In top view we can represent distance from VP. In top view means in HP we can represent distance from VP. Here this 30 mm distance from VP can represent in HP. Then we can represent the orthographic projection of that particular point A when that point lying in first quadrant like this. This is XY line and HP below XY line, VP above XY line, and we know that distance from HP can be represented in vertical plane. Here distance from HP is equal to 20 mm, so that 20 mm we can represent in a VP like this, 20 mm, and this is the locus of front view. This is the locus of front view. We can represent front view in VP. Then similarly, we can represent distance from VP in HP. Distance from VP in HP. Here distance from VP is equal to 30 mm, so that we can represent that 30 mm here in HP, 30 mm, and this is the locus of top view. Then we can select an arbitrary point in this particular locus and name it as A dash, and project it and find out this particular point A, top view. Conveniently, we can take the distance between this dimension line and this projection line as 1 centimeter for the neat drawing. This is the representation of point A lying in first quadrant. Then in the case of third quadrant, this figure is exactly opposite to that of this figure in the first quadrant, because in third quadrant HP is above XY line, VP is below XY line, so that we can say that this 30 mm must be above XY line and point A must be above XY line in the case of third quadrant. And in the case of front view, we can say that this 20 mm must be below XY line, and A dash, this front view must be below XY line, exactly just opposite to that of the first quadrant. Okay, then coming into the second quadrant, we know that HP and VP both are above XY line in the case of second quadrant. Here we can have both planes, both HP and VP, both are above XY line. Then front view and top view must be above XY line. Then To avoid the confusion, to draw the different views, we can mark a tick mark here while we selecting the reference plane. When we select this entire space as HP, then we can mark a tick mark here like this. Then we can select this entire plane as HP and mark distance from VP in HP. Here distance from VP is equal to 30 mm. We can mark that 30 mm here, 30 mm here, and we can represent the locus of that top view. We can mark this locus as top view. Then we can put a cross mark after locating the location of the top view. Then coming into the front view, then we can select this entire space as VP and mark a tick mark here. Then this entire space is now treated as VP. Then we can mark distance from HP in VP. Here that distance is equal to 20 mm. We can mark 20 mm like this and mark this locus as front view. Then we can select a convenient point and mark it as A. Then project it and find out that front view A dash like this, or mark that front view like this. Here we must extend this projection line from A to this XY line. That's important. Because while we drawing that projections, here this point is A and this one is A dash, then that projection line is from A dash to A. And while we rotating this HP in 90 degree, then that projection line is starting from A, then that projection line is A, extending from A to that X-ray line to A dash, A to that X-ray line to A dash. Then that projection line must be extended up to this X-ray line. This is the representation of point A lying in second quadrant. And coming into the representation of for that particular point lying in fourth quadrant, then this one is exactly opposite to that of this second quadrant. Here HP and VP both are below XY line. HP and VP both are below XY line. That means this entire figure must be here. Then after drawing this all the front view and the top views, then we can erase this one, and these tick marks. We can erase that tick marks. That is the final procedure. And in the next classes, we can discuss other projection views. Thank you all.